Hey guys, welcome to Made by BritSie episode number 16. I'm Brittany and this is my podcast where I chat about everything that I've been knitting and sewing. I'm coming to you from Boston, Mass, where I live with my husband Dave and our 9-month-old daughter Mila. And I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. I'm assuming if you're watching this right now, you've been able to take a few minutes and relax and kind of escape from the reality of the world right now. I just want to say I hope everyone is staying safe and staying healthy. And I know the situation looks different for everyone. Some of us are finding a lot of extra time on our hands and some of us are not. I hope that you're able to, no matter what your situation is, I hope you're able to at least squeeze in something creative every day. I know for knitters or makers of any kind, we tend to use our craft as a means of escape, and we all need that right now. So on a lighter note, today is May 1st, which marks the beginning of Me Made May, which if you don't know, it's a challenge that happens every year in May where makers try to wear an item or something handmade every day. Some are able to do full-on handmade outfits, like down to their undergarments. Some of us, like me, will be doing one or maybe two handmade items every day. It will depend on the weather. But whatever you're able to do, whether it's one item, your full outfit, one day, or the whole month, I think it's something really fun that we can all participate in right now, if you're in the mood for it. If you do participate, I would love to see what you guys are wearing, how you're styling your pieces. I know every year, this is the first year I will be able to participate because I've been a pharmacy tech for 18 years. Now I am a stay-at-home mom, but this is the first year that I have not had to wear scrubs to work every day. So I am super, super excited to be able to take part in this challenge this year. And I will be posting my outfits, probably not every day, but I'm gonna try to do at least once a week, maybe do like a collage of my outfits of the day. So on that note, you can find me on Instagram at Made by BritSie, and that's also my name on Ravelry if you want to find me on there. So I do have several finished objects for you today. This is a sewing heavy episode, which I know a couple of you will be excited about. I will put a timestamp to let you know when the sewing starts in case you want to just go ahead and skip right to that. So that brings me to my first finished object, and this is something that I'm hopefully gonna get some wear in the next week or so, because it is starting to warm up a little here. And this is a worsted weight sweater, so I don't know, I definitely won't be able to wear this towards the end of May. But yeah, this is Lili's Bobble sweater. This is a bottom up knit in the round worsted weight sweater, and I have to say I really, really, really enjoyed knitting this. It went very quickly, and I can see myself making another one. I'm thinking I've really been wanting to knit something in white, and I think this would be the perfect pattern because it's got these really cool bobbles that I think kind of makes it a statement piece. So I think in a more subtle color like white or cream, I think this would look really nice. The pattern calls for Aran weight yarn, so worsted weight held with a strand of mohair. I did not have any mohair at the time, and I have been trying to eat through this Knit Picks Wool of the Andes tweed yarn that I bought in a few colors a couple years ago. and I've just been trying to use it up, and it just seems never ending. Nothing against this yarn because it is budget friendly and it is fairly soft for being a non-superwash 100% wool. It's not, I don't find it super scratchy. So I'm able to wear this without anything underneath. If you're more sensitive to wool, that might not be the case for you. But yeah, as far as the pattern goes, it was very quick knit, very straightforward. Maybe the only hurdle for some people would be the bobbles, but once you get making bobbles down, it's really, it's actually very fun. So yeah, all in all, a great pattern. I'll insert a picture so you can see how it fits. It is slightly cropped, not nearly as cropped as some of the other tops I've knitted. But I think it pairs nicely with high-waisted jeans or high-waisted skirts. So as far as knitting goes, that's my only finished object, but I do have a couple of other things that I've been working on and are pretty close to being finished. The first one is this. It's called the Feather Knitted Shawl. It's actually a baby blanket. It's growing, so I don't know if I'll be able to show you the whole thing, but you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. So the story on this is I've never had any desire to knit a baby blanket for my daughter or for anyone really, but I have a good friend who actually just had her baby a month early, so I did not have this finished in time, but I'm close. She's from Denmark, and I guess at the moment this is a very popular pattern in Denmark. I think the Crown Princess has wrapped both of her children in this, or use this pattern as a receiving blanket. So it's like all the rage in Denmark right now. This is actually a very old pattern. This is the pattern that I'm using is from the Patterns archives. There's actually multiple versions of this pattern. It goes by different names, and I've seen crochet patterns and knit patterns. I've seen it knitted flat, and I saw where some people were doing it on circular needles. So there's a lot of different ways you can knit this. At first glance, it was intimidating, and I almost didn't agree to knit this because when you see the picture, it just looks like a lot of lace. It just looked like something that I did not want to knit. But I like the history behind it, the fact that it's an old pattern. So my friend, she was going to order one of these, but in Denmark, she can only find ones that are knitted in wool. Her baby, well, obviously he was just born, so it's getting warm here, and she was looking for something knit out of like silk or bamboo. So I found a silk and bamboo blend. It's actually Patton's yarn, and also very budget friendly. But I think this is a really nice yarn. I think this is the almond colorway. So it's just like a nice neutral, like light tan or cream color. But it feels really nice. It's so soft and squishy, and I think it will be really great. It's a really great fiber choice for the warmer weather. The pattern itself is actually pretty straightforward. So it's just, you knit the center first, which is just a big square, a garter stitch square, and then you pick up stitches along each edge and do this like fan and feather motif. I think it's also called shell lace. So if you've seen or knitted the desk chain top, which was very popular a couple years ago, and I'm sure it is still popular, it uses this same lace motif. So it's really just yarn overs and knit two together, and you get this really pretty lace. So it actually, and I'm using, I think this yarn is, it's pretty close to worsted weight, maybe a DK. I forget what, I think they call it a worsted weight. The Patons yarn uses numbers instead of like worsted fingering. They use like fine, medium, heavy, and super heavy, I think. So I forget what they classify this as, but it's close to a worsted weight. So it is knitting up actually much quicker than I had anticipated. So yeah, all in all, I do love this pattern. I don't know if I would knit it again, just because I don't think I'm going to have a desire to knit a baby blanket after this. But I'm glad I took this on. I think my friend is really going to appreciate this, and I'm excited about doing a gift knit because I haven't done one of those in a while. So the next project that I've been working on, I believe I mentioned this in the last episode, and it's almost done. This is my Diaphanous Raglan top. I think I hadn't started on this in the last episode, but I kind of mentioned it as my dream knitting, and I was able to knock a big chunk of this out while I was in Texas. So this is a top-down raglan cropped top. This is knit holding a strand of fingering weight and mohair yarn together. And this, I have mixed feelings about this pattern. I don't know if I would knit it again, but it's hard to say because since it's not done, I obviously can't wear it yet. So I think if I end up getting a lot of wear out of this, I would not mind knitting it again. But really my only issue, well, not issue, the only trouble I've run into is picking up the stitches for the sleeves, or not even picking them up, just I guess in general knitting with a single strand of mohair is kind of a pain. And I didn't like how the sleeves, when I picked up stitches, I did not like how it was looking, so I had to rip back a few times. I'm doing a ruffle sleeve, so it has you increase like quite quickly. So I think you're doing like knit into the front and back and every stitch for 2 rows. And I didn't like how you could see where that was going on, because basically you're doubling the stitch count. So just the yarn is more dense in that area. So I didn't like how that was looking. So I ripped it back, and I believe I'm going to try to spread the increases out over 4 rows. So you don't get kind of that harsh line. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for the most part, this has been a quick knit. My only other issue was that, so I dyed a skein of yarn to match the mohair that I had. I forget which mohair this is. I ordered this online when I ordered the Patons Silk and Bamboo yarn. I lost the tag, but I think it's like Osterman, I think is the brand. Anyway, it's kind of a budget-friendly mohair yarn. The website I ordered from is called Lovecraft. I've never knit with this yarn before, but yeah, it's fine as far as mohair goes. I do prefer the Shibui Silk Cloud. I think it's much nicer, but for the price, this will definitely work. So anyway, I dyed this skein of fingering weight yarn to match this. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I think I got pretty close. But according to the yardage recommendations for the pattern, she gives a range. So I guess from her testers, she takes the lowest amount and the highest amount used, and gives you a range. So I think even on the high end, she only recommended, I think 250 to 300 yards for the size small, which is the size that I've knitted. I've used almost a full skein of yarn, which is, I think 400 yards. So I've cut the ribbing at the bottom. I cut it short by about an inch, just because I was kind of playing yarn chicken and I hadn't done the ribbing on the neckline yet. Seeing that I do have a little bit left, I could rip back or take out the bind off and add another 1/2 inch or so. So I may do that. Once it's finished, I'm going to try it on and see if I like where it sits. But yeah, I think this is going to be a cute, kind of flirty, romantic top for summer. I've actually never worn anything with mohair, so when I've tried it on, it actually, I thought it might bother me, and it doesn't. So I'm pleasantly surprised by that. But yeah, I should definitely, or I will have this finished by the next episode, so you guys can see how it fits, and I will give you my final opinion on this. Oh yeah, because the only other thing, I keep saying the only thing, but there's been like 3 only things. For the sleeves, the raglan sleeves, so one of the things I liked about this pattern was the sheer sleeves. Well, that means when you're doing the increases, you have to juggle like 3 balls of yarn. So you split your fingering weight yarn into 2 balls, and you knit holding it together with the mohair, and then you switch to just the mohair, and then you switch back to the fingering and mohair held together. So it does take some getting used to, like working with the 3 balls of yarn. But once you get it down, it's really not bad, and it did end up going pretty quickly after that. So as far as knitting goes, that's all I really have to share with you today. I do have several other things in the works, but I think historically, I'm known for showing things and then they kind of disappear. They're never to be seen again. So I'm gonna wait till I'm a little further along on some of those before I show them. But I do have so many things that I've sewn in the past couple of months. So the first one and my most recent FO for sewing is what I'm wearing. And this is the Hinterland top. It's a pattern by Sew Liberated. And this is actually a dress pattern that I hacked, or it's not much of a hack. I really just turned it into a shirt. So I'll insert a picture so you can see kind of the length that I decided to do. But I bought the pattern intending to make a dress, and I bought this fabric intending to use it as the dress version. And then I've been following, well, let me back up. So this year I'm not buying any new clothes. I'm challenging myself to either make all my clothes, or I will allow myself to buy thrifted clothes. So anyway, I noticed that there's a gap in my wardrobe as far as tops go, like tops that I can pair with jeans. I have plenty of dresses, but I need more tops. So I decided to just shorten this into a top, and I actually really, really love it. So this pattern is super popular. A quick search on Instagram will give you all kinds of inspiration, and there's so many cute versions of this, so many hacks. You can do a crop top, you can do a partial placket, you can do a full placket, you can do the buttons in the back, you can take the placket out. I've seen so many cute versions of this. I chose to do the partial placket. So I also like the version without the buttons, but I am still nursing. So for the moment, I do have to consider that in my sewing, and when I'm getting dressed for Me Made May, there's a lot of my wardrobe is not nursing friendly. A lot of it was made pre-baby, but this is nursing friendly. These are real buttons, so yeah, this pattern is great. It was super easy, very straightforward. I ran into no issues with it. I believe I cut a straight size 4, and I'm really happy with the fit. It's not super fitted at the top. There's quite a bit of ease right here, but I really like it. Oh, I think I was going to mention that I follow on Instagram this clothing brand called Mod Boutique. Since I'm not buying any new clothes this year, I've just been tempted to buy things, but I have not. So I figured I will use their clothing or their website as inspiration for the things that I make. So this is kind of fits in their style, like kind of like a boho, simple style top that they've been showing. So yeah, as far as fabric goes, I chose, this is like a lightweight cotton. I think it's the Robert Kaufman, not the Essex linen, but I think they call it, it's the Robert Kaufman linen, but I don't think it's really a linen. I feel like it's just 100% cotton. It has kind of a linen look. To me, it's more like a chambray. I don't really know what classifies something as chambray, but this feels like and looks like the other chambray that I've seen. So I'm going to go with that. I'm not great at looking at fabric content when I purchase fabric. I probably should be, but as long as it feels good to me and looks good to me, I'm not super picky about fabric content, although I am trying to be better because I have found myself stuck with fabrics that I just don't enjoy sewing with. So yeah, on that note, this I did really enjoy sewing, and I will be making more of these. My next finished object is also another indie pattern that I picked up a few months ago, and this is the Joni Jumpsuit. It's a pattern by the Friday Pattern Co. This is my first time sewing with any of their patterns, and I really, really enjoyed this. Let me see if I can, it's kind of hard to show on camera. I'll insert a picture so you can see what this actually looks like, because I'm just not doing a great job of holding it up. So yeah, this was marked as a confident beginner, or pattern for a confident beginner, and I totally agree with that. I mean, I think I'd probably classify myself as an intermediate sewist, and I found this really easy and enjoyable. So it's a pattern that's for knit, specifically for knit fabrics. I've really been into jumpsuits lately, and I do have several jumpsuit patterns, but they're all for woven fabrics. So I was excited to see this one for knits, and I had bought this stretch velvet when I was pregnant. I had intended to make maybe like a maternity dress with it, and it just didn't happen. And I just love this. I think it's gorgeous. Probably a little fancier than what I would wear like for an everyday piece of clothing. But I just really love it. It was easy to sew with. The pattern itself is really straightforward, very easy. It also has large pockets, which I know we all love. So that's another plus. I have not hemmed the leg or the legs yet. I think I'm actually going to crop these. I feel like that would make it more wearable for me, just because these days I'm mostly wearing flats and sandals. So, and I'm really liking the cropped look right now, for tops and pants. So I would and will definitely be making this again. This is actually my second one. The first one I used some like fabric that I wasn't super excited about, and used it as a muslin, but it actually ended up being like a wearable muslin. It's like black with white polka dots, and it ended up being super cute. So I did have to shorten the bodice by, I think, 1 or 2 inches. I just didn't like where it originally sat a little lower than I wanted, and my hips are kind of big, and I like when the waist sits at my natural waist as opposed to my hips. I just feel like it's more flattering for me. And I did also find, I forget what size, I think I made the small, but I did also find that it was quite large for me. I don't know if you can see, I actually did a lazy way. I'm going to redo this. I just wanted to make sure about the fit, but I ended up, after I sewed it together, I ended up going in and putting a seam, taking about 2 inches off of each side on the back seam. Well, it does allow for a zipper. Actually, the pattern calls for a zipper. I opted, when I realized how much extra room I had, I opted to go without the zipper because I realized I could just pull it on and off, and I really just didn't want to mess with the zipper. So I have quite a bit of room back here. I'm thinking if you do make this pattern, definitely make a muslin first. I don't know if it will be the same for everyone. And depending on the fabric used, you may not have quite as much ease as I did. But considering it's kind of an open back jumpsuit, I'm probably not going to be wearing a bra with it, especially because the top is lined. So I can get away without a bra, so I need it to be pretty fitted up here. Otherwise, things are going to potentially be exposed. So overall, a great pattern. Really not any issues with it outside of the extra unwanted ease. But I definitely will be making this again. I think this will be a staple piece in my summer wardrobe. So I went straight from indie patterns to a couple of big 4 patterns. The reason for that being, I was in Texas about a month and a half ago. Long story short, I kind of got stuck there due to the whole COVID-19 thing. So the craft store there by my parents' house is Hobby Lobby, which I actually used to really love to shop at. And since I've been in Boston, there is one here, but we have a lot more like little local craft stores that I prefer to go to. But anyway, I went to Hobby Lobby, and I was thinking that we were going to be stuck inside. Well, we were stuck inside or stuck at home for about a month. So I panic bought several patterns and a whole lot of fabric. But I am pretty pleased with my purchases. The first one is this McCall's dress. So this is super cute, and I really am just in love with this pattern. This came together quickly and very easily, and overall, I really feel like it's a great pattern. I think it's kind of popular right now. You might have seen it on Instagram or another podcast, but it's kind of hard to see on this fabric. It has a fitted bodice, a gathered skirt, and giant pockets, like patch pockets on the front, which I love. There are several variations that you can do, which is one thing that I love about the big 4 patterns. They usually give you, or they always give you, like at least 4 different options that you can choose from. So their patterns are more expensive than I would like to pay. Like I don't mind paying $20 for like an indie pattern, but for some reason the big 4 patterns, I just hate shelling out like, $20, $24. I forget what their full price, but they're expensive. But if I can see myself making at least 2 of the variations that they show, then I at least feel like I kind of get my money's worth. So yeah, I did the version with buttons all the way down the front. There is a version where you can do a tie front, which I think I will do. I did just the full strap. They do have a variation where you can do tie straps. That's also super cute. But yeah, all in all, this was quick, easy, and I can say that even despite not having my serger with me in Texas. So I borrowed my grandma's sewing machine, and so I didn't have my serger, and it was actually kind of nice because it forced me to kind of slow down and do things by hand that I would normally, or finish things in a different way. For example, I did French seams. So I don't know if you can see, but yeah, so that would normally be a raw edge on the inside, or I would serge it. But French seams are just a way of enclosing a raw seam. So basically, normally when you sew, you want to sew right sides together. Well, first you sew wrong sides together at, I think you do 2/8 of an inch. And then you fold it over right sides together, and so 3/8 of an inch. So you get to your 5/8 seam allowance, but your raw edge is enclosed, if that makes sense. So it's actually very easy to do, and I prefer the look over even a serged edge. But it really just depends on how much time you have, and if you're wanting to do that little extra bit of work. So something else that I did by hand, which normally I would whip out my serger and not even bother doing this by hand, but I slip stitched the bodice edge over the raw edge of the skirt. Yeah, normally I would just sandwich those together and serge all the way across. And nothing wrong with that. It doesn't look bad, but I actually prefer this look. So the inside is just nice and neat. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, so I'm super proud of this dress. I've worn it a ton. This is sewn out of just plain old quilting cotton, which I got at Hobby Lobby in their clearance bin for like $3 a yard. I managed to squeeze this dress out of 2 yards, so a $6 dress that I love. That's not bad at all. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love sewing with quilting cotton. I mean, there are different, I guess some quilting cottons are better than others. This one washed up really well. It's soft. It has just enough body and just enough drape. I love it personally. Yeah, when I saw this like kind of Aztec-y print that I feel like is very on trend right now, I could not believe this was in the clearance bin. I was like, come on, Hobby Lobby, what are you thinking? But I was happy about it because I got a deal. So my last finished object is probably the one that I'm most excited about. And this is also another McCall's pattern. And this is an overalls pattern. So I've always been intimidated by sewing denim, sewing overalls, jeans, anything like that. Not because of the fabric so much, but mainly like the top stitching and the different like techniques that you have to use. I have sort of sewed a pair of jeans before. They're not finished. They've been languishing for like, I don't know, 3 years now. I think it was the Closet Case Ginger jeans. So anyway, again, at Hobby Lobby, I spotted this canvas, which they had in like so many cute prints. Also on sale, because Hobby Lobby also has, always has sales. So I think I paid like $6 a yard for this, and I did a cropped version. So I was able to squeeze out a pair from 2 yards. So normally I wouldn't sew with canvas. I mean, I don't know. Do people use that for clothing? I always see it for like bags or things like that, but I never see, anyone use it for clothing. But I am actually pleasantly surprised, with this. It washed up really well. It's pretty soft, but still feels sturdy. It was super easy to sew with. And I only have like great things to say about this. I really enjoyed making these. I took my time and really enjoyed doing the top stitching to the point where I was kind of disappointed that I didn't use like contrasting thread, because you really can't see all the top stitching I did unless you're up close. But I'm definitely going to be making another pair, and I will use contrasting thread so those details kind of stand out. Size wise, I read reviews on this pattern, and if you go true to size, I read that they can be quite fitted. So that may be something to look out for if you decide to make these. I knew I wanted an oversized pair, so I actually sized up to size 14. I think normally I would be a size 8 in the McCall's patterns, but I wanted an oversized fit. So I did a 14, which was actually the biggest in the pattern. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. I would even make them more oversized and still be fine with that. So I did they have a wide leg version and like a slim leg version. I did the wide leg, and I actually cropped it by quite a bit because I'm short. I'm like 5 feet, y'all. So yeah, that's a whole nother story. So I always have to crop whatever I sew, but I mean, I intentionally made these quite cropped and just flared them out a little more. So yeah, all in all, super happy with these. I didn't do the buckles. I opted to do just longer straps and then make a little knot, so they are adjustable for me. I think if you follow the pattern, they're not adjustable. So something to look out for if you make these. But really, I didn't have any issues with this pattern. I will be making it again for sure. So yeah, that is it for everything I've been working on, or everything I've finished. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you guys again in a couple of weeks. My husband is working from home at the moment, and potentially for the next few months. So I'm going to take advantage of having some extra help and try to squeeze in more sewing, more knitting, and more filming. So yeah, again, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.